Live each day with courage. Take pride in your work. Always finish what you start. Do what has to be done. Be tough but fair. When you make a promise, keep it. Ride for the brand. Talk less, say more. Remember that some things aren't for sale. Know where to draw the line. I'm Chris Webby.
And I'm Eddie Webb.
And today on Genreless, we're going to talk about Haunted West. Good morning, afternoon, evening, or even high noon, folks.
Good 11:52 p.m.
So, Haunted West. We're not really going to talk about Haunted West for like 2 hours, although I could and bore Eddie into a stupor.
I mean, you say that, but like genuinely, I enjoy hearing people talking about things that they're excited. And that's part of the reason why we do this podcast, right? Because every once in a while, we stumble across something that you're excited about, and I genuinely enjoy hearing about it. Unless it's something that I personally do not like and do not want to hear about. Like, I don't want to hear people talk about how excited they're about Harry Potter, for example. But in general, like, if people are enthused about something, I genuinely enjoy that. And the fact that we've been doing this for 200 episodes as of this recording kind of proves that.
In case people are curious, there's only one other thing that Eddie hates and that we can't podcast about. And that is going to be musicals. Eddie has a horrible hatred of musicals up and down. Like, I can't describe it to you. I tell him about my trip to New York. His entire body breaks out in hives when I tell him about the musicals. It's weird.
I love how you're playing this up, even though I've told you that I have seen a musical. I specifically went out to see a musical live. It's just not something I can discuss much because being hard of hearing, the nuances of musicals are often lost on me because basically people start talking and the music happens and everyone goes for about 5 minutes and I have no idea what's going on. That's why I don't like musicals. It's purely due
If
to my
you
disability.
if you want to be technical and very point on and like undercut my bad joke, I accept it. I could
I,
say that. Go ahead.
I'm here to undercut your bad jokes. That's like the whole point.
All right. So this is our 200th episode, as Eddie just mentioned, and we're pretty excited. So we're getting ready to do a larger run. The length of that run is still TBD at this point in time,
It's
much
been TBD for
to,
6 months.
and it'll probably stay TBD for another couple weeks right now, more than likely.
Bold
Because
of you to
so in
assume it won't
short,
change during recording, but yes.
well, it will flux. How's that? It won't change. It'll it'll expand and contract.
Like gas.
Well, if you have a very hearty meal, I could do a whole bunch of sticks now, and then transition to a Blazing Saddles joke about the farting scene. Um, all that to say that we're getting ready to do a run on westerns, and westerns is a massive genre that covers other genres that is kind of an all-encompassing. So there's more aesthetics to a western almost than a genre sometimes, and I'm trying to figure out how best to tackle it. In one of the iterations of the actual sheet, I had 30 odd things to it.
Yes.
And I'd even show the one that had 40 something to Eddie. I cut it down to 30 before I showed it to him, and he still balked. He's like, no.
That's like over half a
And,
year, man. No
and
breaks.
then I cut out the television series, focus more on movies. So I keep going back and forth for a couple different ideas. One idea is that we may do a similar model as we did for the Sherlock run, and we kind of break it down by decades. But the thing, even for westerns, if you break them by decades, there is enough nuances and differences in westerns that it would take multiple westerns per decade versus Sherlock, where there is a set amount of canon, and then there are some riffs on that canon that we played with that limited the scope of that run. Still,
Right. Right. Ultimately, it's no matter how far you bend from it, at some level, it is an action mystery. Whereas the Western is, I'm sure we'll talk about this at some length during the actual run, but like Western is technically a genre, but it's much like science fiction. In fact, it is a wrapper for a lot of other genres.
yes. because even if we just want to touch briefly on the 60s, and I mentioned the 60s specifically, because this Haunted West is going to be more of a primer that we're going to talk about here to prepare you for the actual play itself. And for the actual play, what I did is I limited myself to the 60s, and I chose four different characters from four different genres of westerns that were made in the 60s and put them into Haunted West's timeline at right around 1868. I may have tweaked the characters slightly or like the year some of the stuff happens. For instance, one of the characters is going to be Cat Ballou from the musical slash comedy slash you need to see Cat Ballou to fully understand it, who would have been more in like the late 1870s, but the movie itself was made in the 1960s. So I brought Cat Ballou in, and then there's also the Wild Wild West series that almost lines up perfectly timeline wise with Haunted West. I forgot how well that almost just lined up, almost like spot on.
Mhm.
And so that's where I pull in Jim West, who's also played there. And then we take Bo Maverick from the Maverick series. The Maverick series technically happens a little earlier in the timeline, but we sort of shift Bo to fit in with the game itself. And lastly, then there's Lola Colt, who, if you've seen the spaghetti western Lola Colt, it doesn't give you a timeline to base it from, and there are like nearly no reviews of it. It's also depending on how you look for it. It's originally called Lola Colt, but there's also a cut of it called Black Tigress, and
Of
it is,
course.
well, it's because it's spaghetti western, but it's one of the rare like western movies of the time that stars a black woman.
Mhm.
So I pulled all those characters in and I put them in Haunted West. And sort of going around the bend really to discuss Haunted West, but I want to give like a point of reference for the westerns as a genre slash staple slash aesthetic slash universal wrapper.
Indeed. So, uh, for those people who are not familiar with you, maybe someone on this podcast without much knowledge of who either of us are, talk about a bit more about Haunted West as a game and what it's about and what you're trying to do with it.
Wow. It's been, I think, years since we said this, but we are both game designers. We met through making games and sort of
Mhm.
became friends along the way. And to that extent, one of the games I made that I published myself, my own small company called Dark Age Studios. We do a lot of historical games. And then I freelance out and I do all sorts of science fiction and fantasy games and an array of other things. So, Haunted West, as a kid, I grew up watching Westerns much against my will with my grandmother till I
Mhm.
acquired a love of Westerns because it was a way I spent time with her. But watching Westerns, you do notice there's a lot of false history and other people's narratives are stolen and given primarily to white protagonists, and then there's the Confederate myth and everything else associated with the westerns that were frequently put out. As
Mhm.
a writer, game designer, and analyst, I went back and I wanted to tell a western that was actually closer to the actual history itself, that dealt with the struggles of everyone involved and provide a clearer picture of that. So therefore, when gamers, other people when I want to play a Western game, it's like, great, here's Haunted West. You can actually see what the actual West was like and then build your game from that.
Mhm.
But Haunted West itself, as a game designer, is a multi-layered game. That's how I built it from inception. There's a first layer that is actual inclusive factual history. On top of that, I layered an alternate history so I can like play with reconstruction. And so reconstruction, for people that don't know what reconstruction is after the Civil War, one of the movements was to have Reconstruction, which was to try to make essentially everything more inclusive, and they would incorporate the recently enslaved people into society in a better way. It was strangled before it even got started because the assassination of Abraham Lincoln undercut it, and that put Johnson into the president. And Johnson was essentially a southern bootlicker and did everything he could to make sure it wasn't successful because he was also an ardent racist,
Mhm.
essentially killing that. And so in the Haunted West alternate history, I have Booth's plan be more successful than it originally was. So he gets to kill Lincoln, and Johnson. And then I did with a bunch of research and other historians, found the key people that were in place and nudged history slightly and just put those people into place. And we started playing out the ramifications of how it could have changed everything going forward. On top of that layer, there is the weird West that I put on top of it. And the Weird West is massive. It is expansive. I know that a lot of people tell you the Weird West, it's only supernatural, it's only vampires and so forth. That's not true.
That's not
The
true.
Weird West ranges from like supernatural to aliens to all sorts of things. That is what it is. And I've always been offended that people try to box it down to make it smaller than it is, and it's not. I'm gonna pause because I keep going and give Eddie a chance to say anything if he wants to.
No, no, no. I mean, this is kind of your big thing, which is awesome. But I mean, for those who listen on the Patreon, I mean, we cover Briscoe County Jr., which is you cannot deny it is a Weird West show, but that is very explicitly much more science fiction than supernatural. Although it occasionally flirted with supernatural, but even then, it was very much in the X Files vein of it looks like the supernatural, but it secretly has a science fiction explanation, right? Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, if I remember correctly, and you probably know better than I do on this front, um, the Weird West stuff primarily came from the pulp magazines, because pulp magazines were generally broken down by genre. There were mystery magazines, there were Western magazines, there were romance magazines. But then over time, writers felt a little constrained by these arbitrary distinctions. So I started doing basically fantasy and horror and science fiction shows inside the Western magazine because that's where they got published at. And so that's where Weird West kind of took off. Am I remembering that correctly?
To the best of my knowledge. And plus, if you want a good point of reference for anyone that's curious, um, Robert E. Howard wrote a bunch of Western fiction
Yeah.
and amongst
Mhm.
other things. And like, I will not let my frustration at how small minded some people try to be about it get to me today.
No, totally. But like that leads to I one thing I like about Haunted West is that um uh it shows you the breadth of the Western. Like most other Western games, there's like one Western game that has proven to be reasonably popular, which is an explicitly a Weird West game, and it has very much defined a lot of people's perception of what the Weird West genre is. Um, but purely historical Western games have existed almost as long as role playing games have. Um, but they just don't stick around very long. And so one thing I like about Haunted West is it is a huge book. It's basically a giant toolbox. You can go anything you want to do in a Western. Do you want it to be super historically accurate? Do you want it to be alternate reality? Do you want it to be Weird West? Do you want it to be bits and pieces of it? I kind of want this, but don't want that. It's super easy to kind of just dial those in. And so that's one of the things that you'll hear with this actual play is to show how seamless it is to kind of slide between genres, even inside of a game if you want to.
And the other layer for it is I created well, I had one of the other writers like kick it off, which essentially I'll give Dennis some of his shout outs here because Dennis Detweiler was also one of the writers for Haunted West. I had Dennis create a meta plot for the game too that you can slide on top of that. So you've
Hmm.
got already 4 or 5 different layers there that you're playing with that you can intermix however you want to. And the joy from the meta plot is it is also drenched in history, but it also gives you an instant hook to be able to essentially assign players cases. So if you don't know how to bring them into a Western game, there's this thing that happens. And then so they're part of an organization that goes and they start battling the supernatural and doing different things.
Yep.
And that's
Right.
so part of this actual play is me introducing a group of new players to that organization. But I took a slightly different route because it was a one shot instead of a campaign.
Right. And so I guess with that, unless you have something else you want to mention, I think we can kind of just dive right in and let people listen for themselves.
Well, I think maybe we touch on the rules slightly because I'm not
Sure.
sure
Okay.
how some clarified some of the rules were. Um, Much like the setting itself of Haunted West, the rules are also a layered concept from inception. It starts with a base D100. So you like roll a 100-sided die and you look at your skill rank, and if it's under, you succeed. And
Hmm.
on top of that, I had a layer of complexity, which if you succeed by 10 or more, you earn a jack. A jack is kind of the universal meta currency in the system. Sometimes it might power one of your propensities, which are a special ability your player character has, or it might let you succeed a little bit better. One of my favorite mechanics is I created a river. So if you succeed in your task and we'll say you earn 2 or 3 jacks and you only want to spend 1 jack there, you have 2 jacks left. You can
Mhm.
flow those jacks into your river and then save them to use later during that session. And that jack later can get you an automatic success at a skill at the lowest level possible, or a bonus to your skill roll. And
Mhm.
one of the joys of having it at a bonus is if you already have a high skill, you could add additional percents to try to earn more jacks. So there's already an inherent gambling mechanic there if you want to try to get more and more jacks, which allow you to do more and more successful things.
Mhm. Yeah.
Another layer of complexity that highlights how elegant the D100 is that they're criticals. Well, I call them aces and jokers. So if you score doubles under your skill, that is a critical success. If you score doubles over your skill, that's a joker. That's a critical failure. So things like that are also incorporated in it. And I think those are the main mechanics you need to know. So I think we could like punt it over to past Chris running the game. And with that, legend goes that somewhere between these mountains lies a gateway between heaven and hell. It is said that a sacred sisterhood guards this portal, and the power of their prayers keep the damned from tormenting the living. Trouble is, the damned never stay put. Welcome to Haunted West, 1868. As this is a genre thing, I get to be more relaxed and more laid back than I'd be normally. So I'm going to assume that I did the thing I told Eddy I was going to do, which is make a recording, explaining Haunted West, explaining the mechanics, and being very on point. Something I've promised Eddy I'd do for the past 3.5, 4 years. That is going to happen eventually.
This will not happen.
And to that point, I've called together my friends once again to celebrate our 200th episode with a Haunted West actual play. It could be because we're doing a Western run after this. It could simply be because I wanted to run my game. It could be that the world kind of sucks and I wanted to hang out with people that I really like that makes my day better.
All three of these things.
Don't give away the magic.
There is
we,
no magic.
we will start at the top of my screen with Ariel. Could you let everyone know a little bit about yourself, if you're on social media where they could follow you, and the character that you'll be portraying today?
Hi, I'm Ariel. I am playing Lola Colt. I am absolutely not on social media. And yeah, I'm here because I love Chris Spivey and he made me a writer.
At gunpoint.
Wow.
You will be a writer now.
I don't think I've blushed in years. Now I feel awkward and weird. Positive reinforcement is not what I'm used to. So then let's go to Matthew, which I can definitely not get
Yeah,
positive.
don't get used to that.
Well, I am Matthew, and I am playing Bo Maverick, a charmer, a huckster, a bit of a con artist, and all-around dandy of the Old West. And the reason I am here is because I was asked, and quite frankly, I still owe them a life debt for allowing me to do a Mortal Kombat Conquest-themed episode on their podcast, which I feel I'm paying back now by playing an ex-Confederate.
Matthew,
So the slate is clean.
how many episodes was that Mortal Kombat run?
It was only supposed to be 3, and I think we talked about the whole series.
So we'll check the skills later. Next on my screen, Jen.
Hello, I am Jen Kretschmer. I am on the interwebs as Dreamwisp on Blue Sky, so it's dreamwisp.bisky.social, and Dreamwisp on Instagram, and Dreamwisp Jen on Twitch. And I write and act and do various other strange things. And yeah, I'm here because Chris also gave me amazing opportunities to work on this game. And I I adore these people, and I'm so happy to be here and get to play.
Thank you. Then, all right, that's it. We're never gonna talk about Eddie.
Bye. I can go big early. It'd be great. You all know me. I am contractually obligated to be on this podcast. And no, I actually been wanting to play Haunted West for a while. I remember I was did some initial consulting for it, so I'm excited to actually get a chance to play it now. And I am playing James West, the original James West, not the later James West, the good James West. Um, uh,
I'm
we'll
throwing
fight
in a
about this.
giant splatter now that I hadn't planned to before, just for that reason.
Damn it, no! And he is a gunslinger. He is definitely also a James Bond homage, we'll say, which is appropriate because we were going from the James Bond run to the Western run, possibly. So this would be a nice little segue.
And I, because I
Awesome.
am on deadline and have no brain, forgot to say who I'm playing. I am playing Cat Blue, who is an academic, and I am representing the comedy Western genre.
To that extent, thanks for the actual segue, Jen. What I did, all right, I'll take a step back because I know me, I'll probably not do the recording that I'm supposed to do, and then I'll be like, oh, Chris, why did you do it? Eddie, I didn't do it because I got distracted. You should have done it anyway. I'm making hand puppets now for people to see Eddie and I discussing. Haunted West is my Western that I've always wanted because I grew up loving Westerns from time with my grandmother. There's a whole other story. You can listen to a bunch of podcasts about it. The long story short is the version today is going to be the alternate history of Haunted West that we include in the book. So it's kind of a rift on what happened if the Reconstruction had actually worked, which all I did is nudge history a little bit. And I made a traitorous bastard plan just slightly more successful, which he kills Lincoln and Johnson, how in the original plan. And that created a vacuum that was then filled by the radical Republicans. And then it enabled progressive changes to happen without someone actually attempting to strangle Reconstruction at birth. So in the game itself, for instance, one of the things that happened by now is there's a state of Sequoia, and there's some other things that you'll see that happens up through the game that has more and more progressive steps taking as the radical Republicans who are vastly different than current day Republicans, because there was a switch that happened in the 50s and the party essentially switched platforms. Whole other story, not for today.
Right.
Eddie,
very
did I
different.
miss anything as you like to keep me on point?
No, I think that's the basic rundown we got here. So we're gonna shoot some stuff, I think.
Cool. I'll give any of the players a chance for questions, comments. If not, I will do that thing that I do.
What is the thing you do?
Chris, were you trying to get into the genre aspect of it?
Thank you. Look at that. So to all the characters, wow, I'm all over the place. So work has been a lot recently, and there's a whole lot of fires I won't go into. For the characters, I limited myself to follow the idea that I wanted to choose 4 characters from the 60s, 1960s specifically, from different Western genres, because the Western genre itself is massive and all expanding. And I chose a spaghetti Western genre for one character, a comedy/musical for another, a satirical character genre, and the spy genre to kind of show you how they could all interact with each other. And I tweaked the characters' histories slightly so they could all fit into the same time frame of Haunted West. And then I Haunted Westicized them, and I made them all a little bit weird to some extent.
Awesome.
All right,
Cool.
then let's do this thing. The year is 1868. The date is March 27th. The group of you before had received a letter from an old friend, a friend, in fact, who saved you aboard a certain vessel in 1864. And the letter says what, James West?
December 17th, 1867. Hello, old friends. Ain't been but a handful of years since a hell-born night aboard the Housatonic, when those low-down, traitorous devils came at us with their accursed submersible. I still see the blaze, hear the screams, and taste the black smoke of death in my sleep. By the Lord's grace, I pulled you from that sinking coffin, and have not once forgotten the blood oath you and the others gave. You swore to ride beside me, no matter the miles or the danger, and I aim to hold you to it. Time's come to settle old debts. Ride hard and meet me at the Colt Arms Inn, Houston, Texas, come the 27th of March, 1868. I have a table set aside for noon and a bottle of whiskey. To the end of the line. In steel and smoke, your brother in arms, Thomas.
How did each of you get there? I'm already assuming that you arrived on time, a little early actually, but how did you get there from where you were before? I'll start with Kat.
I have a particular fondness for trains, and heists on trains. So there may have been a few train heists along the way, but I think it was trains as far as I could get on them without getting caught, and then switching over to Sunshine, right, my horse.
Awesome. Bo, how did you get there?
Well, you see, I'm a man very much in demand across the entire area of Texas, and that required the changing frequently of horses, carriages, and wagons. Some like to say I'm a wanted man, but I prefer to think of it as being in demand. And therefore I had to change my get-up, my mode of transport, and ultimately arrive just in the nick of time for whiskey at noon.
Excellent. James, how did you arrive?
Well, naturally, as part of my cover as a gadabout gentleman, I probably take my private train there, and then perhaps close to my destination, I find myself train jacked by a rather charming young woman who then I take the rest of the way to our destination.
Excellent. Lola,
In fact, we
what if-
know each other, so I might have even relied on you to help carry out the heist.
Totally, I could see the getting on the train and getting ready to stick somebody up and go, oh, it's you, James. Just like pointing guns, like, oh, hey.
Yep.
Lola, how did you arrive?
I was performing in Dallas when I got the letter, so I had plenty of time to grab my horse, whose name I've just lost, Stormcrow, which is my favorite way to travel, and rode my way to Houston.
Excellent. While all of you arrive, some of you a little early, some of you just barely on time. When you get to the Colt Arms itself, it is a small, you're guessing 6-room. Some people would call it an inn. Some people would call it a saloon. Some people would call it a shack that if wind blew too hard, it'd fall over. But it is still there with a proprietor who's a rather rotund gentleman with a wall of bottles, brownish bottles that you'd assume to be whiskey behind him. He sort of easily greets you and waves at all of you and motions you to the lone table in the entire center of the room.
Look around. Nice place.
Yeah. Is the saloon all but reserved for us, or is it a heaving place?
It looks like it is completely empty except for the 5 of you. The 4 of you and the rather less than jovial barkeep.
Well, I have to compliment you on the venue choice, Thomas. This is really quite a
Thomas is not there.
reservation. Oh, sorry. I've still got sand in my eyes. It's been a long ride. Who the devil are you?
The barkeep says, "I'm Sam. My place was rooted out. Have a seat." And he slides the bottle that has rock gut and the word rock gut scratched out and the word rot respelled again, spelled incorrectly. Scratched out again, spelled you're assumed to be right.
Well, it looks like a very fine vintage. I'll take the bottle.
I don't know who your buddy is that rented the place, but he said he was going to be here and he's not here yet. So have a seat, do whatever you want to do. I don't care. He's got the place for 4 more hours.
Do you have a table for Pharaoh? I've got some dollars to spend.
he like looks at the only table in the entire place and looks at you.
But it seems I'm the only player. In that case, I'll take the bottle and sit.
I'll adjust my blue suit and dust some imaginary dust off the seat of the chair and sit down with my boots up on the table.
Other than Kat and James, who met on the train, the rest of you haven't seen each other in a few years, but you all know of each other. And because Thomas has tried to keep in touch with everyone as much as he could over the past few years.
My goodness, is that Lola? I say, offering you a glass.
Greetings, all. I will take that glass.
Are you still in the entertainment business, Lola?
You know it. Always looking for a show.
Still treading the boards.
Just got done doing a barn burner in Dallas. Packed house. Couldn't keep them in their seats.
Really? I've been learning a few card tricks myself.
Oh.
Nothing quite as high-kicking as your entertainment, but we play to different audiences.
That's all right. You don't really have the legs for the high kick.
Try as I might. And I recognize a interfering quip from James West. There was I, getting reacquainted with Lola. James, take your feet off the table. Did your parents not teach you good manners?
No.
No. I take my feet down off the table. I don't. I just getting comfortable. This is a very cozy place.
Just because you're in
Cat.
Texas doesn't mean you need to behave like a Texan.
I'll keep that in mind.
Kat grabs the bottle, takes a swig, and then grabs a pen from her bag and fixes the spelling of Rock Gut as she slides it to whoever wants it next.
I think you've just added $5 onto the value of this bottle, Cat.
Any way I can help.
As about an hour goes by, as the four of you are sort of catching up, and Thomas is still not arrived yet, which, you know Thomas fairly well. He's fairly consistent with time.
I will routinely take the pocket watch from my pocket, examine it on the chain. I won this in a bet that for the person who lost it, it was a bet gone wrong. For me, it was a bet gone very right. And despite the fact it doesn't keep good time, I can still tell he's late. Well, this isn't like Thomas at all. He's usually quite the punctual animal.
Yeah, that is a little concerning. Barkeep, how much longer did you say we have this place for?
And you see he sort of looks up at see there's a clock actually behind him that looks broken. A couple more hours, I think. Spits on the countertop and just keeps on wiping it.
I admire his attitude toward cleanliness.
Your friend paid in cash, so I don't care.
I'm sensing a theme here. I think I'm gonna stretch my legs a little bit, just kind of leave for a moment. And then I will head out of the bar and try to see if I can get a look around. If there's, is there like nothing around? Is there like lots of trees around? I'm trying to get a sense of the location, seeing maybe get a sense of what's going on.
You want some company?
Sure, I'm always happy for company.
As the pair of you step out in Houston. Houston is a relatively large town, and people are going by, traffic's going, and almost as soon as you step out, you see what appears to be a young boy, maybe 8 to 10, running like directly towards the actual bar itself, the Cold Arms, with like some sort of piece of paper in one hand, just like flailing as he runs.
I will make as if to reach for my gun and then point my fingers at him with like an pistol gesture.
Jumps up like that and like drops the whatever's in his hand, starts floating to the ground, freezing. Look, mister, I don't want no trouble. I'm just trying to deliver a message to and just keeps stuttering because he's so afraid right now.
I put my finger down and say bang.
A small crowd is like slowed, but they keep moving by. He picks up the note. Are you a Cat Baloo or a Bo Maverick?
Alas,
I
I'm
mean,
neither
I
of
think
them.
I think I would be starting to head out, but I'm behind enough that I can't interfere in what's happening yet.
Of me pretending to murder a child in the street, yes.
Right.
Yes, and I'm too
A,
busy trying to.
terrified child in the street.
Yes, I'm too busy trying to carry a conversation with cats where I discuss literature with absolutely no knowledge of literature. But I want to appear intelligent. I want to appear informed. This is usually how I get one by people, even people I know, unfortunately.
So Lola and James, what do you do? You see that he's asked the two of them, and you can see like the four of your names on the top of it, but he's barely read those two because he's so afraid. He's like shaking and barely make those names out.
I'm sorry. I was just funning with you, kid. Our friends are inside. Do you want to come in and well, I can't give you a drink, but you can sit down and maybe catch your breath.
Sure thing, Mister.
All right,
And
go on in.
as he walks past, you do see that he has like almost a uniform on it. It has like Western Union on one side of the arm.
Yeah,
He
I'll,
walks
I'll,
over to the table and
it's a young
slams on your
man.
table.
Whoa!
On the only table in there with the two of you sitting, slams on the table, pauses for a beat to see if there's a tip.
I'll tip him. He's a young working lad.
I only tend to tip if the message is good news.
Not
And you see,
ask the bartender to give him a glass of water.
and he takes one of the bottles off. That's a little lighter color brown, and pours in the glass for the kid.
Maybe add a lime
Kid.
into that.
It's
And
fine. Put some hair on his chest.
the kid has dropped handout number 2 onto the table if anyone wants to read it. It is in your shared folder space.
Oh, look at that.
Somebody else want to read it, or want me to read it again?
Yeah, okay. Let me see what we have here. It's a telegraph. I look up, acknowledging. Western Union Telegraph Company. Dated today.
So it's sent 2 days ago, because today's the 28th, right?
Today is the 27th.
27th.
That was sent yesterday.
I have been in the saddle for so long, I would forget which month it was if you weren't here to remind me.
Especially you drink a lot. I get it.
Well, I wouldn't trust the water in a place like this. Anyhow, I won't be making the meeting as planned. Can't say more in writing. Eyes might be watching and ears listening. The order is in peril. Everything we've bled for hangs by a thread. Ride fast, ride quiet. Come to my homestead at Virginia Point. I'll fly the flag. Whatever you do, don't take the rails. I am sorry, Cat. He didn't say sorry. I'm apologizing. I know you're fond of steam trades. Time's against us.
I can read. Thank you very much.
Time's against us. Thomas. Well, this is a rum state of affairs, I must say.
Yeah, that is concerning.
Indeed, I have traveled pretty far, all the way over from New Mexico to Houston, which isn't a short ride. Where's this Virginia Point? I assume not in the territory.
We have a map, right?
You currently do not have a map. Some of you came by train, some of you came from Dallas, and Bo has given no inclination he'd be a map sort of traveler. Can everyone here let's make a call to get people used to the system and see how it works. In everyone here, make me just a scholarship roll. Specialty is not important right now, just to make a scholarship roll. So you're trying to roll percentiles and get under your scholarship score.
Okay, that is a failure on my part, which seems appropriate.
Me too.
I got a 19 to 48, which I think gives me 2 jacks.
It does.
Yep.
Ariel.
Sorry, I'm looking for my scholarship number.
It's going to be under
Mhm.
knowledge.
Gonna be under knowledge. Scholar accounting?
Specialty is not important right now. Just make a scholarship roll, please.
Right. Would help if I had some light on. Sorry. 26.
Was
I
that
have a 30.
successful?
Yeah, out of 30%. I need
Okay.
under, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So both Lola and James know that it's probably about 50, 60 miles from here. James, you've earned 2 jacks. You want to use any of your jacks here, or do you want to save them in your river for some future use?
Actually, that's a good shout. I think I do want to put him in the river, so I'll
For people
put
that
him
aren't familiar with what the river is, I'm going to take a moment now. So essentially, for the system, you roll percentiles. If you get 10 or if you score by 10 or more under your skill, you earn a jack. A jack is kind of a meta currency for the system that you can use for later use if you want, or you can use it on the current roll to learn more information about whatever the fact is.
Remind me, the river is shared, right?
No, that is your river.
Okay, never mind. I'll note this down somewhere.
Both of them know it's probably about 50, 60 miles going towards the water, so towards the coast.
Well, if we can't take our train, I should see if we can wrangle up some horses.
Timmy takes his 2 bits from Cat, had his drink of brown water, and runs out the door.
I'd be running quickly out of the door if I was drinking that. Did you say it's downriver?
Yes.
Maybe a paddle boat. Oh, I understand. I can speak for my cousins. Run quite a trade in paddle steamers, albeit not in this territory. It makes for quite a luxurious trip, if you have the dollars in your pocket.
So the group of you are in Texas. It's towards where the water is. It's not necessarily, you won't be taking a paddle boat to it. You have to ride to get there, or train.
Oh, nuts. Again, geography not Bo Maverick's strong point. When he's a wanted man, he hops in a saddle, just rides in the opposite direction. He never knows where he's going to turn up.
Exactly.
Well, it's not like I haven't been riding for the last 2 weeks, is it?
Yeah, you've had some whiskey. It's you sure you're a little softer now. I'm sure you won't feel the pain as much.
I swear my buttocks have been rendered better than the pork they're selling down the street.
Well, this
I
message
don't
was
love
sent
it, but someone
Go
can
ahead.
ride with me. Is all.
I tip my hat. Why, thank you very much. And what were you saying, Kat?
I was saying this was sent yesterday, so I think we should probably move quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Right, let's finish up this bottle and get going.
Oh, my apologies. It looks like I have a horse on my train, so I will go ahead and decamp my horse.
Each of you should have a horse.
Okay. There we go. Then we will get on our horses and start riding towards Virginia Point.
Are you riding hard? Are you riding slow? You're guessing at about 50, 60 miles. It'll take you 2 to 4 days, depending on how quick you ride.
I would suggest that despite my laissez-faire attitude, I think I can still be motivated to ride fast. If it feels like Thomas is in danger and the letter, or the telegraph, I should say, implied it, I think we should
Mhm.
put some speed behind us.
Yeah, it
Okay.
already feels like we're behind if you sent it yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
The group of you mount up and head out hard on your ride. Takes you about 2 days to get there. And you're going to arrive there late as the sun is setting on the second day. Are you doing anything of note on your ride?
Of note,
If we notice anything along the way, if there's any gossip that we pick up on, if we cross anybody on the way, I think those are all things to be paying attention to for sure.
So as you're riding, you know that you're going towards Galveston, and Galveston is Galveston is one of the largest ports in the U.S. right now. So the traffic, there's a lot of foot traffic. Most of the traffic now goes on rail because there's a train that goes from Houston directly to the Galveston area. And Virginia Port is kind of Virginia Port would essentially be on the shore. Galveston is an island itself.
Okay.
In terms of all these, in any gossip, rumors, and so on, like Kat's been looking into at the various outposts and camps we may have stopped off at during the night. Checking for usual kind of tales of the trail. What's the native activity? What's the situation regarding banditry on this route? Sometimes you get lost cause maniacs wandering around. So what's the situation there between here and Virginia Point?
Would you, Bo, make me a diplomacy, subterfuge, or negotiation call, Bo?
Oh, the choices there. I think subterfuge will probably be playing to my strengths. So basically, pretending to be someone I'm not, someone who will garner respect from the individuals I'm asking these questions of. So, for instance, if we end up in a camp of marshals, for example, oh yes, I'm a marshal just out of Houston, of all places, wouldn't you know? That kind of thing. So as to engender myself to them. So I will lie and try and get the information. So let's see.
With
Okay,
that additional
yep.
information, would you make me you get a plus 10% to your skill?
Oh, excellent. Okay, so I'm rolling on to 71%. And okay, that is a good roll. I get 20. So it's 20 under 71. So that is 5 jacks then, I believe.
It is. Would you like to use any of those? I'm going to give you the first piece of information. You can let me know if you want to spend more for additional information.
Go ahead.
So you come across a group of people that have sort of camped out. They're rail workers who they're trying to work on the rail line. They tell you how originally a hurricane hit last year in 67 that kind of blew out the actual the train rails that go from Virginia Point to Galveston. And so now they're trying to get more and more people to come and repair them. They think they'll have it fixed in a year or two. And so that's why they're out here right now. That's why they didn't take the train down, because they're inspecting the actual rail itself from Houston all the way down to Virginia Point, and then they're going to do additional inspection from there and then take a steam ferry over to Galveston.
Okay. All right. So, well, now we know where the rail is out. In that case, this subterfuge is extending to, well, myself and my friends will work on the railroad as well, up the west coast, in fact. And we were looking for work now that our work is finished. So that's why we're heading out here. In terms of what I'd like to spend the rest of these jacks on, at least a couple of them, how is our friend Thomas a known figure? As in, is he a wild bill? Is he a marshal that might be known as a bit of a hound? So do we know that?
Since I kind of shared some of the information before we start recording, Thomas worked aboard the Union vessel. He was one of the lower ranking engineers. He was a black private. The thing that you do know is that he was good with electronics. That was sort of his thing. He would definitely not a wild bill type. If anything, he's more bookish with a bit of bravery because he joined the army.
Well,
formerly enslaved, escaped to join the Union.
In that case, I think as these guys are engineers who we're speaking with right now, there's the possibility they might know of him. So I'd like to spend another one of these jacks just to see whether they've ever worked with him, encountered him, crossed paths, anything like that.
May I just flag something before you continue on this pathway, which is we know that the rails aren't safe. So if they have any ties to rail workers, we're potentially putting ourselves at risk if they say there were people who were digging into X, Y, and Z. So just tread carefully here.
With that additional
Ooh,
information, Matthew,
danger.
how would you like to proceed?
Well, I smile in the face of danger, but it's good advice. That is something in my times affiliated with Kat I have always valued. The time she's pulled me back from the brink of getting my face blown off. So we won't go as far as saying we are engineers. We heard of the disruption as well, and if and we have heard there is an excellent engineer out here near Galveston.
And
I
you see
would
that-
of this man.
You see that Brad, who's the engineer you talked to, sort of pops a little bit. Damn right there is, and I'm right here doing the work, my friend.
Oh, Brad, I'm sure you're absolutely fantastic. I was wondering how regarding.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are, and we're so happy to find you. You know, we've been hearing about you, and I sort of I shoot Bo a look because we have been explicitly told that things are not safe for our friend Thomas. We do not want to endanger our friend any further.
Yes, and yes, that does it's finally strike a nerve. Absolutely.
I'm basically mom arming here.
Just one last question, one last Jack. One last question.
Yes,
the
Columbo,
accent
what is it?
finally drops. Just one last thing. Are you the murderer? No. You mentioned weather.
4 hours
weather.
gone. Matthew, you solved it. It is random Brad, the engineer of the railroad line.
Well,
Damn it.
if this scene lasts 4 hours, it will have to be.
I'll start digging in with Brad, the engineer, about the mathematics of engineering. I will go there with him. I'm good at math. I will go there.
The point that I'm trying to get to with him is you mentioned that foul weather uprooted railway sleepers. I've never heard the like before. Are you sure there wasn't any kind of sabotage?
Well, it was a hurricane that came through in '67. So no. Not unless somebody can control the weather. And they both laugh fairly heartily at that.
I do not laugh at that.
Mm.
I remember that case.
Do you say that out loud?
No.
The case of the weather wizard.
I think it'd be the night of the weather wizard, Matthew.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I think we've spent enough time wasting yours.
All right. Well, you folks be careful. And never forget, Brad, Alistair, Lethbridge, McCoy is the best damn engineer on the train line.
How could anybody forget that rhythmic name?
Just for you, Eddie.
She'll spell balm.
And thank you for teaching me about how that circuitry worked. I was always getting stuck on it, and now I completely understand, and I really, really appreciate it.
And now it's
I'm
my
going to
turn to
actually
start dragging
file that
Kat.
away in case I ever need to like make explosives and figure out a circuit to trigger it. Like that's actually going to be knowledge that I keep in my knowledge bank.
Yes, you truly are the most interesting man we've ever met.
The rest of your trip to Virginia Point is relatively uneventful. There's a bunch of people moving along the trail. So anyone you want to stop and talk to, you can. You can tell that there aren't any real dangers or bandits because it's so heavily trafficked right now.
Mm-hmm.
What are the indigenous groups here?
Originally, there were 2 or 3 here, but you know what? As I'm trying to get the system more stuff, Jen, make me a scholar history roll. I'll give you a plus 20% to that roll for this.
Okay, which puts me at. Okay, that's 44 under 76. That's 3 jacks.
That's 3 jacks. You know that originally most of the indigenous people here were sort of killed off the more the colonizers came in. And around 1850, most of them had moved on. But given the new legislation that happens in 66, 67 with the state of Sequoia, there's been a trickle down from different indigenous groups into the region, but there's not been a solid influx yet.
Okay.
With that, what Brad does do, because I'm having fun with this now, and this is all about
I
me
also
having
like that
fun.
his initials are balm.
I know.
A
I noticed
balm
that.
for the soul.
Hey, just you know what? I'm not going to say it. Brad hands you his newspaper before you all head off. So, would you look at handout number 3 that I've also placed in the handout folder?
I also like
so
the other things about his name.
There's a lot of good there.
There's so many good things about his name. Okay.
Now people are going to be curious. Is this how I run all games that I run? Or is it just because it's a genrelist, I'm trying to make it more genrelist-like?
Just both.
Hey.
You want this read?
One of you can read it, yes. Whoever would like to read it.
Radical Republicans strike again. Texas to be renamed? The Radical Republicans, unsatisfied with merely reshaping the United States, have forced through universal suffrage granting the vote to everyone. Race, sex, gender, whatever, be damned. Though hailed by some as progress, whispers of political bartering abound. Now their sights turn to Texas, our beloved Texas. Before we administer statehood, those bastards in Congress reportedly demanded a change of name. As an heir of Samuel Houston, I say no. Among the names under consideration are Estevanico, honoring some early Moorish explorer, or Douglas in tribute to the famed abolitionist, Mr. Frederick Douglass. Is this all meant to spit in our eye? The South stirs uneasily, and many wonder what next shall the radicals demand. By Eustace Houston.
Just an article that the Brad, or Balm as you'll like to call him now, shared with you before he went about his way because he finished his newspaper.
The author seems like a thoroughly agitated fellow. What he needs is a balm.
Oh, Matthew, you just take 46 lucidity damage.
No, you did, Chris.
You're right. I'm still reeling from that. The 4 of you ride hard. It takes you a little over about 2 days to get there. And as you're coming into Virginia Point, the sun's setting in the distance, and even give me 1 second. I want to share something else with a group of you so you can see. Listeners will not get the joy of this because it's an audio medium. But if you all look in your handouts folder, coming into Virginia Point, you're here, but you can see Galveston actually in the distance on the water. I've dropped the Galveston map. Well, one of the Galveston maps in there for you. It is massive and expansive and going out.
Very nice.
Whoa,
You
that's
Americans
really
really love your grid systems.
For anyone listening, it's a kind of pastel blue and tan map with an old-timey font saying Galveston at the bottom, and around the edges are different buildings. In the center is a gridded map, and around the edges at the top and the bottom are water and the horizon. And around the bottom water are ships, and are those cranes constructing it?
Yes, you can barely make them out the distance. Galveston is a major, it's like the primary port for the United States. Millions of dollars come in and out of Galveston.
Yeah, every single square in this huge grid has buildings, like very tall, many storied, wide buildings and homes, neighborhoods even in each of the squares.
And Jen, from Kat's book reading, and Bo, just from your time in cities, you're guessing that city easily has 15,000 or more people in it.
That's a lot of people to convince to part with their money. Lola, have you ever played in this place before? I imagine you'd draw quite a crowd.
This is exactly what I was thinking. I've never had the pleasure of Galveston, but I think I just might have to.
And as you're riding up and you see Galveston in the distance, you do see a flag from the Eustis flying beside one shack, barely as like the sun is setting. You can barely make it out in the last gleams of sunlight.
That's the word need to go.
Where we'll head, yeah.
As the group of you move towards the house, it's possibly roughly a 4-bedroom sized house. It's actually 2 stories. Looks to be almost hand built. And the sun is sort of set. You can barely make out. Looks like there's a light flickering from inside of the house, but the curtains and everything are all drawn. Right now, I'm assuming you're maybe 50 feet from the main gate, from the gate that goes around the house. And then from there is another 100 feet into the house.
See, I wasn't nervous until you started describing distances, and now suddenly I am nervous.
Eddie, what do you mean? Because I'm being more precise?
Right.
After you, James.
This is a fairly large city, so
Well, that's Galveston, the distance that you see. Virginia
the
Point
distance,
is still on this side of the shore, and it's a
got it.
small. It's kind of a wave station for people to get to Galveston. It's like, we're here. All right, let's go to the real place.
This is an
Okay.
outpost, basically, an overlook.
Essentially.
Then I will pull my my Colt and just have it ready as we approach, because I'm nervous about this.
Okay. So do you all dismount? I'm assuming you tie your horses at the gate.
No, ride the horse right into the house. It'll be fine.
Just duck really low.
No, yes, it's not.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm just grateful to be out of the saddle, so I will tie my horse up to something solid.
Okay. As the group of you tied off your horses, you make your way towards the house. Can everyone make me an observation call at a minus 10%? The sun's set, it's a little dark, the only real lights coming from inside the house, but it's curtained. So it's a little hard to see.
You know what? I'm just going to spin a jack and succeed at that.
So what Eddie's done is that if you have jacks, you need to spin a jack to get additional plus 10% to your skill call before you make the roll, or you can spin it to get an automatic success at the lowest level possible.
I will spend to get an automatic success at the lowest level possible, please. Because otherwise I am just set up to fail.
Both Kat and James see that the front door looks slightly ajar, like it's been pushed back closed. And as you're walking by, the gate itself looks like it's seen a lot of recent wear. There are actually splinters coming off of the gate, and you can see the freshness of the splinters that came off of it.
I'd like to circle around the house.
Okay.
And
So you're going to walk the perimeter, essentially?
Yeah, walk the perimeter and then maybe come at it from the back if there's a back door while people are coming at it from the front, just to be safe.
All right. You see that Lola starts making her way around the perimeter. I'm assuming that Kat and James are still walking forward. Bo, what are you doing?
I've been led into enough ambushes to know that the people attacking aren't always in the place you're heading to. So I am making sure that our rear is watched, and any of the houses, buildings, cover to our flanks doesn't have someone hiding behind us waiting to jump out.
Okay. Bo, would you make me an additional observation call or tactics if you have it?
I'm glad you asked for the
Observation is going to be at
additional one.
minus. Observation is going to be, wait for it though. Observation is at a minus 20 because it's gotten darker, or tactics is at a plus 10. You can choose which one you want to roll, assuming you have tactics.
Yeah.
Lola, are you trying to be sneaky, or are you just walking with purpose? You're muted, Ariel. I hear all the words you're saying, except I can't.
I assume I am plainly visible.
It's pretty dark. If you want to be stealthy, you can be stealthy, but you'll be
Oh.
slow. Walking with purpose will get you there quickly, but you'd be obvious.
No, I'll try stealthy. Then
Make me
if I
a
have some
stealth
cover.
roll at +20, please. Kat
Uh,
and James.
28 out
Yes.
of 74.
Okay. Note you've got 4 jacks and you make it. Would you like to spend 2 of those jacks to get to the back this turn and still be stealthed?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So you have 2 jacks left, but you make it to the back. About time. Kat and James reach the front door. Bo, what did you get?
I sadly failed by 2 degrees. So yes, ultimately, I do not have tactics, and I rolled a 67, which ain't good. It ain't good.
One of the ship horns sort of goes off as you're trying to look, and it sort of draws your attention for a split second. James and Kat, you're at the door. The door itself looks like there was a lock, but the lock seems to have been blown off, and now it's just pushed up against the door. Lola, there is a back door. It is currently closed. I will let Kat and James go, and then I'll go back to you, Lola, and then to you, Brett. Bo.
I'll kind of
Brett.
I kind of glance at Kat and kind of like nod my head, like, "Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?"
I think I'll let you go first.
I will. I will
And-
put the gun like in the gap between the door and just slowly ease the door open.
Okay.
And I'll sort of
slow-
loosen my lariat should I need it.
You slowly move the door open, and like light pours from the interior of the house, kind of blinding you almost for a second. Lola, are you doing anything in the back of the house?
Yeah, I'm going to stand next to the door and reach around and open it slowly.
Okay. Similarly for you, the door actually isn't locked, and light starts to spill out of the back. Bo, are you doing anything as you see the front door being open?
Well, I can't leave them to have all the fun. So I'm going to rationalize that if there was something to our flanks or rear, I would have spotted it, which means I am following them in with gun drawn. I'm trying to move fast so that I'm not too far behind them in case there's any trouble, while not trying to knock things over and make too much noise either.
Okay. Bo, Kat, the light spills over the both of you, and you're blinded for a second, but there's not too much light. And you see on the floor, in like a long trench coat and barely moving like a gun swing from side to side, is Thomas. Thomas is a black man, probably around like 5'6". Well, at one time when you remember from the vessel, just a wall of muscle from working down there so much, with like maps and everything scattered around him. Looks like he's been hurt. Some kind of like just a armor revolver swing from side to side. It's like, stay back or I'll shoot. His eyes are like half closed.
Thomas,
I'll
Thomas,
rush
it's
over
us.
to him.
Yeah, you and rush
All
over.
right.
Yeah.
Kat rushes over. You see James is shouting Thomas's name. Kat, the closer you get, you see that he in fact has a long trench coat. There is no shirt, but he has like bandages wrapped all around him, pulled tight, almost too tight from what you can tell. And you see that like his eyes bolt open and they are bloodshot red. He grabs you by the shoulders. He says, I knew if I held on, you'd make it. I knew you'd make it. The order is
What happened?
humanity. Everything is at risk. And you see his entire body, he lets go of his entire body, convulses for a second, puts one hand down, dropping the revolver, and trying to like look up again. What do you do?
What happened? Thomas, what happened? What's happening? Who's
While she's go ahead. While she's asking questions, I'm going to quickly rush in and do first aid.
James rushes in. Lola, when you open the back door, you open into the kitchen. You do hear the sounds of what sounds like Thomas shouting from the other room. Something about humanity, order. Sounds like he's ranting. Bo, you hear the same thing as you're running towards the front door. Kat, you see that when James gets close enough, he pushes himself up and sort of push one hand out to James to stop him. Long coat. There's like looks like there's dried blood on him, and bandages wrapped all the way around his body. Can both of you make me a first aid check? Not to make it, but you're seeing his current state.
Now with 96, I ain't.
Sometimes you just don't know things, my friend.
I don't
I
understand how
think
that
you
works.
killed him.
I think he's dead.
35 under 48.
You gain 1 jack. You see that
Yep.
from how tight the bandages are, and they're actually bullet holes in him too. There is not enough blood. There should be like more blood on the floor or somewhere. And he says,
Okay.
"Don't worry about me. I'm not important. What's important is the order, and I found something greater than the other threat. There isn't time. You have to stop it before it's too." And his entire and air
Stop
Lola.
what?
By the time you walk in, Lola, you walk into the back of the room. Bo, you're at the front door. Cat, he's staring directly you in the eye. Hand out, telling James not to come closer. He's going to. His entire body convulses again, drops to his knees, and his entire body erupts into writhing worms that starts pouring out of every single orifice. Skin disappears. Can all of you please make me a perseverance check, please?
Not good at all. I'm gonna spend my last jack to get 10% on it.
Yeah, I'm going to just use my jack to succeed at the minimum.
So one of the things about this,
Yeah.
since this is a terror check, they work a little bit different.
Hmm.
I will let you spin jacks to get bonuses to your perseverance roll, but you cannot automatically succeed on a terror test.
All right.
I have 57 under 86.
Okay.
You don't get jacks on terror test either, do you?
You do not. Jacks on terror tests actually reduce the amount of damage I'm about to tell you from stress and horror.
Right.
Well, after adding 10% with a jack, I succeed by 1%. I get 58 under 59, which I will take quite happily right now.
Okay.
I
So
got-
I'm
I
gonna
got
start with
40.
Ariel.
Okay.
Ariel, what did you get?
57 under 86.
7 under 86. So you earn 2 jacks. So the horror of the situation is going to inflict 5 points of lucidity damage to you, which, don't forget, gumption will also subtract from these terror tests too. Eddie, what did you get?
I got a 42 under an adjusted 74, so that would have been 3 jacks.
So you would have taken 4 points of lucidity damage, and your gumption would still lower it. Jen,
Minus
what about
gumption.
you?
Adjusted with my jacks, I will get a 34 under 38.
So you're taking 7 points of lucidity damage minus your gumption. Matthew, you're taking
Okay.
7 points of lucidity minus your gumption. From the horror of seeing your friend erupt into these writhing worms all over the floor, and his last words you can hear are, "You should have been in the order. Humanity, stop it!" And the wall of writhing worms erupt out towards and somewhat splashing over James and Kat onto the floor, pouring out over the entire floor. Hundreds, no, thousands of these writhing worms coming out of it. It looks like the bandages were almost there to kind of hold him together until you showed up.
Oh, no. Hmm.
Comedy.
Hey,
Ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba.
I have 66 and a cult. Does that help me know anything about what's just happened to him?
would you make me an occult roll at a minus 10%, please?
63, so no, because you took me down to 56.
You're not
Okay.
sure.
Oh, but I have a jack.
You have
I
to
still
say
have
you're going to
to-
spend it before you
Oh.
roll.
Got you. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
It's a good job we're by the sea. I think the two of you need throwing in it.
Yeah, this is never gonna come out of this suit. Oh no. I'm gonna try to wipe off as much of this as I
No, don't
can.
touch it with your bare hands.
I think that ship has sailed. Um, and just look around the shack. You mentioned there were maps all over the floor. Are there any that are not covered in worms that I can look at?
So I'm gonna go person by person right now.
Okay.
So two of you covered in writhing worms, and they're all over the floor, thousands of them. Bo at the door, Lola at the kitchen to living room door. So you've seen all of this. Right now, James, you're about to wipe worms off of you in your suit, is where we're
Okay.
at.
Okay.
Is that the action you're taking?
Well, with one hand, yes.
Okay.
Because I still have my hand on my gun.
Cat, what are you doing? You see James is
I think I want to grab his coat.
okay. You grab his coat and shake it. Okay.
Yes.
Lola,
Sorry,
what are you
my
doing?
head on an audio podcast.
I want to examine the whatever these maps and paperwork that he has laying around.
Okay. Bo.
Well, I don't really want to get any of this mess over my sparkling whites. Part of what I do is about appearance, but I do always have a hip flask with me, and I know that parasites respond poorly to alcohol. So I am going to suggest, because this has sprayed both Kat and James, hasn't it?
Yes.
Cat, close your eyes. I'm going to pour this over you. It might kill whatever's in there.
Okay.
Whiskey to the eyes doesn't tend to be a fantastic combination.
Yeah, not a good combo.
So consider this your baptism. And I...
As you're pouring it, you see as it hits the worms, they almost instantly disintegrate.
Ha! Cure all for everything.
Lola, please make me a new occult check at your normal proficiency. As you see, as the alcohol hits them, these worms seem to disintegrate. James, what would you like to do?
Be nauseous. And then see if there's anything else around. Actually, since it looks like the more intelligent people are actually looking at the maps and whatnot, I'm instead taking to see if there's nothing else around here, because if he's made of worms, there may be other nefarious bandits around.
Okay. Can everyone either, if you're looking at maps or for clues inside the house, please make me a deduction roll. If you're looking for bandits and etc., please make me an observation roll.
I will do that.
Oh,
I'm sorry, what was the first roll?
If you're searching for
Deduction.
like the maps and other clues inside the house, a deduction call, please. If you're looking for bandits outside, a observation call.
I want to use a jack to succeed for deduction.
Errol, did you make that occult roll that I asked for?
I did. That was a 38 out of 66. Yeah.
So you've earned 2 jacks. What you can tell just from the successful roll, this is some sort of curse that was placed on him. Do you want to spend any jacks for additional information, or do you want to save those?
I'll spend one for more information.
From what you can tell, it's an ancient curse. You can't quite put your finger on it, but you know that you've read about it before, maybe you remember reference it from a couple hundred years ago. It's something that's used by people that either with the sea or earth, you can't quite recall, but is definitely an anciently recent curse. So within 100 years, 200 years at most. I'll start with observation calls for people looking for bandits and outside the house before I go inside the house.
Okay. I got 18 under 60, so that gets me math 4 jacks.
Okay. You don't see For your success, there are no bandits in the immediate area. Would
Okay.
you like to spend any of your jacks for additional details?
Yes, I like to spend checks to see if there's other people who may threaten us that are in the area.
For 2 jacks,
Sure.
you see that looking around the house, 2 jacks, even in the dark, there are footprints here maybe that could have been 6 to 10 people, possibly within the past day or 2. And looking around the house, you see that there are bullets and musket ball holes in the side of the house, as if there was a fight here, an altercation, probably last night or the night before last.
Um, can I spend the last 2 jacks to do a little bit of Sherlock Holmes bullshit and see if I can figure out um where you said there are a bunch of there are a bunch of footprints leading into the air to the house. Can I extrapolate kind of where they came from? Like, did they come from Galveston? Did they come from a different area?
Um, for one more jack, it looks like the group of them, the tracks would lead you towards a port from Galveston, and it looks like they walked around the house to the front to try to come into the front door. It would have made more sense to come into the back door, but they actively seem to walk around the front to come into the front.
Interesting. Okay. I'll put the last one in the river then.
Would you like to give me your last jack for the last clue that's here?
Oh, okay. Well, there's another clue there. Yes, I'll take it.
Your familiarity with firearms, you know that most of them right now, most people aren't using musket balls. And the ball that you recover is old. You're guessing 50 years old, maybe? A little older. It's hard to really piece together from the remnants of it, but it is definitely not something anyone is currently using.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
Let's go interior. Bo, what are you doing? Feel like I haven't talked to you in a bit.
No, I was busy splashing booze around the place. If I'm done with that, I will be. And the other people inside the house are looking for matters of occult and academic nature. How big is this house? Are we talking multiple stories? Is it more of a shack, or what are we looking at?
It's a 2-story, 4-bedroom house. So essentially, there are 3 bedrooms, 3 bedroom sizes downstairs, and maybe 1 bedroom size upstairs.
Have any of us been upstairs yet?
No.
Okay, well, I will have my Lemmat drawn and start making my way upstairs cautiously.
There are no lights upstairs.
Oh, bother. Let's see. Do I have a lighter?
Do you smoke?
Yes, I've got
Then
10
yes, you'd have a
smokes,
lighter
so-
or matches or anything.
Yeah. I honestly don't know the history, Chris, at this point of when lighters really came into effect. But yes, I will definitely have a match lit.
You can
That's
get by on
more
matches.
moody. It's moody, isn't it, to have a match burn down? So
When you light it and going upstairs, there's a bed. It is pristinely made, and the match goes out and you sort of light another one. There's almost like a layer of dust on the bed, like it's been slept in a few weeks. Essentially, you burn through most of your matches doing this, but upstairs you find what appears to be a gold fob watch of some kind that's sealed.
Mhm.
There is an actual telegraph inside of the house, and it looks like there's a telegraph line running from outside to this telegraph.
Impressive. Maybe there are intentions of turning this place into a telegraph office before he turned it into a house.
And you've been around long enough that the telegraph doesn't look like any telegraph you've seen before.
In that case, I say aloud, well, hold on a minute. And I will try and look at the guts of the thing. I'm no engineer. I will call Cat up once I'm certain there's no present danger creeping around. These telegraph machines usually sit on top of a cupboard or cabinet. You open it up, and that's where everything is,
And then you
gears,
tap away on it.
cranks. Yeah, exactly.
This is literally on a desk. It's just a telegraph. There's no other machinery around it and a cord in a line that seems to be running into it. As not an engineer, you know it's weird.
Yeah,
but
yeah. I can't make anything else out of that. If only we had Brad with us. But we do have Cat. We do have Kat, and if she isn't the next best thing, I don't know who would be. If I'm confident there's nothing, and just through childhood trauma response, Bo is going to check under the bed. Because
Okay.
he grew up with brothers, and they were terrors. So he's going to check under the bed, make sure no one's
find-
lurking under it.
A rifle under the bed. That's it.
Well, that might come in handy. I will take the rifle and the fob watch.
Okay. Kat and Lola. Kat, what did you make on your deduction roll?
I made a 21. So that was a 21 under 40. 843.
Okay.
I'm sorry, it was a deduction?
Yes. Or observation if you're
Was
looking
it?
outside.
Sorry, it was. No, I'm inside.
Okay. Deduction.
21 under 58.
Okay. So 3 jacks.
Or wait,
Going
I'm
around.
sorry, it was observation or deduction? Which one did you want?
Deduction.
I'm inside. Okay. Yeah.
Deduction.
21 under 58.
3 jacks. It looks like what you can piece together. And what you actually find a business card that has the name Lucian Wright on it, assessor, and it has an address in Galveston. That is tucked away in like a desk under the corner, and that's your success and 1 jack to find that card, essentially.
Okay.
And most of the maps and everything else the 2 of you see in here are just different variations of the map of Galveston. There isn't any markings or anything on them. Lola, what did you get?
I jack to get an automatic success.
In the fireplace, there's a lot of ashes that look like there were other paperwork that was burned either today or last night.
Okay. And I sift through them, pull them out. Does it get any? Do I see anything specific? Is there anything whole enough there for me to?
Just a bunch of ashes that burn. Obviously, he actively burned something, so someone else wouldn't find it.
Chris, may I ask a weird question here?
Sure.
I'm a scholar of architecture. Would I be able to recognize if there's anything out of the ordinary in terms of the architecture of this building? Like if he might have hidden something in the walls?
Yes, you would. Would you please
Not bad
make
at all.
me an architecture roll?
I spent 1 to succeed to find it,
Okay.
but I'll spend more.
You can. You know
Oh.
what? We're doing a 1-shot. We have a limited window of time. How many jacks would you like to succeed? How many jacks would you like to spend?
I'll spend 3.
Okay. Spinning 3 jacks. What you see is on the far wall, he has a blanket over the wall that looks like it was a Union blanket that he must have used in the war to keep warm. Pushing it to one side, the paneling behind it looks a little awkward, and you're able to figure out a complex code of like moving this panel to here to there to left to right, and part of the wall pops open. And inside, it's a safe is securely and beautifully placed in the wall, hidden, and it is locked.